breaking news in the UFL.
So it was announced today by the official UFL account that they had decided to part ways with the Houston Gamblers and Birmingham Stallion.
So not one, but two teams.
Yeah. So it's definitely kind of sad. I mean, I didn't support either of them. I'm more of a we're here in Ohio. I support the Aviators and I also support the Kings.
Hmm.
So I like them, but I wasn't a big fan of the Southern teams, and they were actually the two teams that I missed the most games. I didn't miss very many games. I missed like maybe 8 all season, but I missed I think 6 Houston Gamblers games. They were never on when I could watch them, and they
Hmm.
were just also hard to access.
Yeah. So like you said, two teams. Birmingham Stallions, who have won three championships,
Yeah,
and
the USFL was relaunched in 2022, and they won that season. Then they went on to win the second year in 2023 USFL, and then the 2024 UFL championship. So
all
they
right.
won three in
So
a row.
so a team that's had success is one of the ones that's leaving.
And they made the playoffs in 2025, but they missed it barely this year.
Okay, yeah. And then the other, the Houston Gamblers. So I knew we had talked already about Birmingham. That was kind of the writing was on the wall. But was there any hints that Houston was in a similar position?
Yeah, I think they were definitely overlooked at the end of the season because all the Stallions talk. But Houston, they were the Houston Gamblers in the USFL in 2022 and 2023, and in the 2023 XFL season they were the Roughnecks. So there were two Houston teams at the same time. So then when the UFL merged, they were the Roughnecks, but in the USFL conference. So it was really weird. But they took all the Gamblers' assets. So they're basically just the Gamblers with a new name. So they went to a lower stadium, and then Rapoli came along after that abysmal season and moved them to Energizer Park, I believe, something like that. And they were even worse. Basically, no one showed up. It seemed more like there were more people on the field than there were in the stands. There was like no advertising in Houston, and I
So
believe, yeah,
so in summary, there hasn't been the crowd support this last season. So if you were watching
left
that,
two,
you
even.
you could really see that they didn't have the level of support
Yeah, and like the
that they needed.
in like the two games I watched, yeah, and all the highlights I saw, yeah, all the comments I heard, yeah, everybody. Some guy I saw a comment and they said I went to a Houston Gamblers game. There might have been like a few thousand people there, and there was no one near me for like 30 seats.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's hard to have success with that. So Rapoli came out because you're probably wondering, okay, so why the Stallions? They had success, they have fans. So Rapoli said that there's three things that he wants, right?
Yeah,
So he wants a passionate fan base, which you need with any team,
I
which
do believe
is
they had that. I just don't think they had enough.
well, yeah, Birmingham I think did, but Houston did not. So that's why Houston's gone. Then the next thing you need is the right market. And I think that part of that he's thinking about is that's going to draw TV audiences and stuff like that. And then the other part is the right size venue.
Yeah. So they played in Protective Stadium, and I'm still kind of new to NCAA, but I know that is the home of UAB. So it just wasn't really right. I think the stadium was 47,000 seats, and I do believe I said that wrong when we last talked about this. I said 37,000. I've done my research now, and I know it's 47,000, which is even worse. 37 was really bad, but like
Mhm.
47, that's so much worse. And it's just really crazy that they had to play in that for so long because also with them, no one was really there. They had like a bit of people there, but obviously they're not going to pack a 47,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's a challenge for the UFL is because stadiums traditionally have been built for larger capacities when it comes to football. When you look at college football, when you look at the NFL, a lot of these stadiums are 50, 60, 70, 80. Like when you look at Ohio State, when you look at Michigan, when you look at Tennessee, like these can hold almost 100,000 people. And so like
Yeah.
so many stadiums across the country are larger. And so he's kind of going against the grain, really focusing on the atmosphere. And yeah, for spring football, I think it's important to recognize that you're not going to have the same draw that other teams do. And so if you want to have the atmosphere that's going to create a compelling game, I think it's important to have the right size venue, but it's
Yeah.
challenging when that's so different from the traditional size that stadiums are built.
Yeah.
So we're seeing change here with those two teams leaving. We know that the UFL has talked about their plans
For
that
Oklahoma City,
that by 2028 they want to be up to
10,
10 teams, and
including the Oklahoma City.
by 2030 up to 12 teams.
Or they also said that if everything goes well, they could accelerate to
Yeah,
in
I if
2029 to
things
12
fall into
teams.
place sooner, but by 2030,
Yeah.
that's the goal. So right now you have six teams and you have Oklahoma City coming in.
Yeah.
So
Brings
that
us up to 7.
means seven. So that means five additional markets within the next, 3, 4 years. So if we take into consideration the UFL's place in the football market, we take into consideration, which teams there are. Let's play a little exercise here where we explore, where those additional five teams
Yeah.
could find a home. So
So
let's start with you. Let's take turns just picking teams. So where would you choose to be the next location for one of these five
I think
franchises?
bringing back the USFL Michigan Panthers, I
Hmm.
think that's good. You know, they had a strong history. I mean, last year they made, or not 2 years ago, in basically I call it United Bowl 2. It was the UFL Championship, but the Panthers, they had Jaden Perkins, I think, who won league MVP and led the Panthers to the United Bowl after winning the USFL conference. They lost to DC by like 30. But that was really like the only bad spot. I mean, they had to play in Ford Field, which obviously was very expensive. And that's why they moved. But with the new stadium they're building that should be ready by 2028, I feel like that's the next logical step.
So I think that is definitely, we could almost lock that in, I think.
Yeah.
So I like that one a lot, and I think that also keeps some regional interest. If you have Michigan, you have Columbus, you have Louisville, and St. Louis,
Yeah.
all relatively close together. I think that that's a good setup. So I think going on from there, you have to look at markets that are some of the bigger cities in the country that can bring in TV audiences as well. I think that because of that type of support, they don't have to worry about travel costs as much as smaller leagues. So I think
Yeah.
that even if the team is on more of an island geographically, that they can still find success in the right market. So I think one that we haven't traditionally seen that could be successful would be Boise. I think Boise would be my next choice for where the UFL could land.
So with the Gamblers moving, I would put them in Austin. I think that is the right place to put them.
Okay.
I don't think they take the Gamblers like name, but I feel like Austin is definitely the next step for the league if they want to keep a Texas fan base. And I think Austin and San Antonio would really do deserve a UFL team and not these major NFL powerhouses like Dallas and Houston. So yeah, I think Austin is just a really good market for the league if they want to keep it in that Texas region.
Yeah, I think that would be a choice there. I think it helps not having an NFL team there because Houston
Yeah.
and Dallas already do, so you're already kind of on the losing end of trying to win the fans over. I think that wherever they go, I think it would be crucial to their success to be the identity of the city. I think if you're the little brother, I think you're automatically going to have less support. So I think Austin would be a better choice if they were going to stay in Texas. So I think so. If we were picking five teams, so we pick Michigan, we pick Boise, we pick Austin. I think the next team that I would pick would be Albuquerque, New Mexico, is what I would want to go with
Yeah,
as the next choice there.
it's a little more westward. I don't know if they could support Albuquerque and Boise. I mean, I'd have to probably see a Western division, maybe, because I feel like logically they want to get divisions set up. Like when they get to 12, they're like, oh well, let's set up divisions, like three divisions of like four, like a Southern, a Western, like a Midwest, an Eastern, like whatever works.
Hmm.
And I feel like getting some of those outliers would be fine, but I feel like Boise is pretty far away from everyone else with this. Um,
It would be.
I think they definitely would support it though. And you know, Rapoli, he has the budget. I do say there are a few teams I'd want to include, like Seattle, Philadelphia, New Orleans. Like they definitely deserve like UFL teams back, like with
Hmm.
their history in the XFL and USFL. Maybe see the Generals if they can get a stadium.
Yeah, I think there's a few that we would list as consideration, like strong choices, especially as the league continues to try and grow.
Yeah,
I don't think that their long-term plan is to stop at 12. I think they want to be more, 20 plus teams in the long run.
yeah.
So,
And I
but
think
as
we could see that in the next 15 years.
Yeah,
I don't.
absolutely.
Yeah.
With the right growth and the right plan for how they do it, yeah, that could definitely be a possibility. But for our exercise here, there was one last team to choose after Michigan and Boise and Austin and Albuquerque. So out of those ones that you mentioned, which would you pick?
I mean, Seattle.
Seattle would be your last choice there?
Yeah. I feel like if you want to get Boise a natural rival, Seattle's right there basically. Philadelphia, they have the stadium, and we did mention this on the
Hmm.
Stallions video or on my list. But with New Orleans, they don't really have a stadium set up. I don't feel like Chicago really does either.
Well, let's talk about Seattle because that's
Yeah.
the one that you mentioned. So, Seattle, I think that a lot of you were saying this earlier when we were talking that having two teams that would have potential for rivals would be good. So, Boise and Seattle would be that
Yeah.
possibility, just like Michigan and Columbus, Louisville and St. Louis, Dallas and Oklahoma City. If you had Oklahoma City, Dallas, Austin, and Albuquerque. That's four that would be pretty regionally
Yeah.
based, would be pretty solid there. Um, but yeah, I think you mentioned a couple other strong considerations. I think Philadelphia is a really popular choice.
Yeah.
I think, uh,
Salt Lake City.
yeah, I think Salt Lake City, they're definitely a city that's pushing towards more professional teams across different leagues.
And they're winning. They're getting more fireworks set up with that. And they really don't have any much history. Like in the AAF, they were like the most northern team,
Hmm.
and they were not really good. Like they were pretty bad, but it was like one of the first teams in like Salt Lake City, like
Yeah.
ever really in spring football.
So, and I think that we would like to see teams in the Southeast because that's what we talked about last time with Birmingham
Yeah,
moving. We'd like to see like Chattanooga or Raleigh or, Georgia, South Carolina, somewhere in that region that's going to compete, with DC and Orlando and give them a regional division too instead of, the way they are currently. That would be great too. But I think what it comes down to here is that they're really trying to think long term and position themselves the right way. And I think they're going to be careful about which cities they choose, and venues
yeah,
are going to play a huge part in it. So
for
I
sure.
think,
I think I think there are a few stadiums that are really outliers right now. If they want to build like an Eastern division, like obviously right now it's like DC and Orlando on the East, and that's
mhm,
like way too far apart from each other. And there are other markets that would take one in, like New Jersey, that could be an instant rival. New York, that could be an instant rival. Hartford, Boston, like
yeah,
Carolina, even.
I think there are,
I think there are some spots that they could try and fill, but I definitely think the East and the West need a lot because they're going to the central, like the central part of the U.S. in the South, and they're going to the Midwest. It's just
yeah,
like the COFL at this point. But you have the Midwest. You have Louisville. You have Columbus. You have St. Louis, and then to the South you have Dallas. The
yeah.
only real outliers are DC, up east, and Orlando near the Gulf.
Yeah, I think it would be beneficial for the league to have teams in that region that that would compete with those two.
Yeah,
I think with whichever direction they go, the biggest challenge is gonna be the venues, the stadiums, just because it's almost like you have to find either a soccer one that's that right size already, or you have to build it like in Michigan, because a lot of the pre-existing ones are just too big already. So I think
yeah.
that really limits options for the league, and that's going to be a big challenge. But we're definitely going to watch closely as they work through this and try and make the right decisions, and we'll be there to
Judge them
share
on
our
this.
opinions on whether we think they've made the right decisions or not as this goes forward.
And I do want to say before we end this off that with my Forgotten Football States and Cities, I will definitely be making a Birmingham video soon, very soon. With the Stallions gone, I'm gonna hop on this. Gonna immediately do one here soon.
Yeah, yeah. So look for that, and we'll have all that and more. We're trying to put this stuff out on a regular basis. There's a lot going on right now, and we're happy to share it with you as it develops. So keep coming back.
Yeah.